first one is Pocong. So that is how you read it. It's Pocong. So there you go. That is a Pocong. I grabbed that picture off of Google. These are ghosts in Southeast Asia that people believe are around, and it really depends on the person. Believing in supernatural things seems to be a really big thing in Southeast Asia. People here are terrified of ghosts. Show of hands, if you think ghosts are kind of like a story or like a horror like culture story thing, raise your hands. Ghosts are not real. Raise your hands. Oh! Alright, so you guys are not like, Southeast Asians are like, oh, you shouldn't bother the ghosts because they will haunt you forever. Does anyone in the crowd believe that ghosts exist and are real? Can you raise your hands? Oh, there are also people that believe that. Yeah, so it's kind of like a split between different cultures. Some people think they're like myths, they're stories, and some people think that they actually are around us and we should be careful with the way we do certain things so that the ghosts don't haunt us. I personally think it's something that parents made up so that their kids would be more obedient. So this is the Pocong. This is from Indonesia or Malaysia. It is the ghost of a deceased person that remains trapped in its burial cloth. So Malaysia and Indonesia, they are both countries with Islamic values. So this is how they bury the dead. They will wrap them in a white cloth. This is how they are put into the ground. I believe some people use caskets, but some people actually bury the dead like directly into the dirt. Nowadays, I think it's more common that people also put them in a casket because it looks nicer and kind of out of respect and things like that. But there are people in the countryside and stuff like that that actually like bury their dead just with the cloth and without like the casket on top. So yeah, this is how actual dead bodies are wrapped here, like in Indonesia and Malaysia. And very specifically in the Islamic culture, there are people that choose to cremate. But this is the origins of the Pocong. So it's depicted with pale faces and their eyes are wide open. Being wrapped like this, the faces are the only part that's left uncovered. So at Malay funerals, the dead are buried in white shrouds that are tied over the head, beneath the feet, and on the neck. So just like the picture. I'm sorry, this was the only picture that looked presentable, and there is like a tree right in front of it. That green thing is not part of the Pocong. So these tight restraints restrict the Pocong's movements, and they are often depicted hopping about. So they basically just jump. It's kind of like a long white worm jumping around. Do you guys know like the Chinese jiangshi? You know, the one with like a piece of paper stuck to the head, and then they stick their hands like straight out, and then they hop around. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Chinese jiangshi. So yeah, this is exactly the same thing, except that this is in Malaysian and Indonesian culture. So, according to traditional belief, the soul of the deceased lingers for 40 days on earth, and if these restraints are not loosened after the 40 days, the Pocong will just jump out of the grave, and they are just really mad, and then they just want to be set free. So if you don't bury them properly, and then you don't tie the knots properly, there is a certain way to like tie the knot so that it will loosen like after a while, after the person is buried. If you tied it wrong, there is a possibility that this Pocong will just be angry and be like, because it's kind of like being in a straitjacket, right? So they're angry and they want to be set free, so they just jump around and haunt you. So in Southeast Asia, people take this really seriously. This is actually recent. This was during COVID. Indonesian authorities actually did this to keep people indoors because people still wanted to go out like after like curfew hours during COVID. So they dressed volunteers. These are real people, and they were dressed like this to just jump around the town so that people would stay indoors. These are real people, and yeah, so this happened in Indonesia. People actually take this really seriously, like folklore, ghosts. So in Southeast Asia, this works. I'm pretty sure if you do this in Czech, people will just laugh at you. There you go, everyone's shaking their heads. Yeah. So yeah, Southeast Asians take ghosts really seriously.